What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Dead on Dave. Welcome back to the channel. It's Saturday, so you know it's your top 5. And I've got a lot going on today, so I'm knocking this out early. I don't have a lot of time because the great Tommy C is coming by today to the house because we live close to each other here in Germany. And we're going to hang, and our kids are going to hang. So you never know, there might be a video coming out of that as well right here on this channel or on his, Shot from the Point. So keep an eye out for that. But I wanted to go ahead and knock this out early today. And, of course, this is your top 5 greatest Money in the Bank cash-ins of all time. This is something I've been wanting to do. Joe Cronin kind of lit a fire under it last week when we were talking. But it's one that I've had in the back of my mind to do for a while. But I'm really glad that he brought it up because it was like, oh, yeah, that's perfect. I completely forgot about it. That's a great one to do. So that's what we're doing. I hope you guys are ready for it. I know Money in the Bank is a concept, probably the greatest concept we've had in wrestling in the past 20 years, to be completely honest. I mean, it really is one of those game-changing foundations. You know, it's something that 15 years, I'd say. Yeah, maybe 20 years. There was some cool stuff that happened in the 90s, but definitely in the 2000s, it's one of the coolest things to ever happen. Because it changed the game. It really allowed wrestlers to kind of blur the lines a little bit, you know, and change their character in a heartbeat. Your Money in the Bank has built new characters. It has paved the way to phase out old characters. It's been used as ways to write people off television forever. It's almost become what the Intercontinental title was in the 90s. You know, the top guy was getting that belt. Well, now the next top guy is Money in the Bank winner most of the time. Not all of the time. But there's been a lot of guys who have won Money in the Bank and then become massive after. I mean, the list really does go on and on. And yes, you could always make the argument if it wasn't Money in the Bank, then it would have been something else. And that's probably true. Some people think that the addition of Money in the Bank has kind of devalued the mid-card titles, and it's part of the reason why nobody really cares about the mid-card championships anymore. That could be a very possible argument as well. So regardless of how you feel about Money in the Bank, their cash-ins are almost always entertaining, water cooler fodder, and just a lot of fun to watch. Some great moments have happened, and we're going to talk about the 5 greatest of all time. But you know me, I like to start with the negative sometimes. So let's begin this list with the worst cash-in in the history of Money in the Bank. And that one was easy. It is Damien Sandow, 2013, trying to cash in on John Cena and failing. Look, this is not just because Sandow lost and because the match wasn't particularly good. It's because of the whole situation. The night before, John Cena won the belt off of Alberto Del Rio, the boringest man in wrestling. And you got to remember, at the time, John Cena had a gigantic friggin' football not long before on his elbow. This is where he was going through all of his elbow problems, and he comes back in 2 months, and of course he takes on Alberto Del Rio in like a cage or something, and Del Rio completely destroys his elbow for the entire match. And of course, didn't matter how much he destroyed Cena's arm. Cena became Super Cena and prevails. And he even used the bad arm to hook the leg for the pin. The next night, enters Sandow to cash in. The match starts. Now, he didn't wait for Cena to be out and all of that stuff. No, he challenges him. He destroys Cena's arm for an extended period of time. But after, once again, Super Cena emerges, which, by the way, I don't always buy into the Super Cena shit. I don't. You know, I think it's just comebacks. I mean, hell, you can say Hulk Hogan hulking up was Super Cena before Super Cena was even born. And that would be a very fair statement. But, you know, I don't always care about that. But there are certain times when Super Cena is absolutely ridiculous. And this is one of those times. His arm was destroyed for 2 nights. And it didn't matter. He prevails, and it's crazy. Why this is the worst of all time is not just for those reasons alone. It wasted Sandow. He had a little bit of momentum from the Cody Rhodes and his feud. That should have been more well developed. And it wasn't. It wasn't. This whole situation was just insulting to fans. I mean, in so many ways. Sandow was a great performer. He was very funny on the mic. They could have found a different shtick for him to use, but instead they gave up on him. They fed him to Cena, and it did nothing for Cena's career. And the worst part of it, it took almost 2 years for Sandow to become relevant again. And how is that fair to anybody? So, you know, it is what it is in wrestling sometimes. I know I use that statement a lot, mainly because it's true. In wrestling, it's probably more true than anywhere else in life. It simply is what it is. And this match was shit. It was a terrible thing. It is by far the worst cash-in I've ever seen. I hated this cash-in. I'm sure there's a couple that rival it, but this one for me had all of the makings of absolute garbage. So next is the honorable mention. And only one honorable mention because there's only been like 15 cash-ins. So the honorable mention is the one most people hate the most. If you weren't going to use the Damien Sandow cash-in as your worst cash-in, probably you have this one in mind. The honorable mention for me is Randy Orton cashing in on Daniel Bryan. Now, no, this is not honorable mention for worst cash-in. It's an honorable mention for the top 5 greatest cash-in list. And here's why. This pissed so many people off. Holy God, did it piss so many people off. But I saw it coming. I knew this was going to happen. Daniel Bryan was not winning the belt at SummerSlam. It was just simply not going to happen. If he was going to win it, he wasn't going to hang on to it long. And that's exactly what happened. Why interject Triple H into the match if it wasn't going to be a screw job? It made too much sense, and it's given us so much since then. Some people don't like the Authority. I love the Authority. It reestablished Randy Orton in a new light. It changed him a lot. He's gone through so many different changes since he has joined the Authority, since he's become the face of the company, and it's allowed to bring back older stars and make them a little more relevant and give them roles. I'm talking to you, Big Show and Kane. And it's helped build the 3 biggest stars probably over the next 5 years. And I mean, Dean Ambrose, who, yes, he's having a little bit of problems getting going at the moment, but 2 guys who ended up being in the main event at this year's WrestleMania, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. They helped build this. All this started in 2013. You know, that's when all this started. And it's wonderful. I personally really enjoyed it. I loved the turn. I loved how angry people were. I loved the fact that they gave Daniel Bryan a full-on celebration only to take it away. I love the pedigree. I love Randy Orton coming out. I mean, there was just everything about this I enjoyed. And then the fact that we got a really good WrestleMania out of it as well, with Daniel Bryan defeating Triple H and then defeating Randy Orton and Batista in the main event. I mean, really, it couldn't have been much better when you look back on it. Had Daniel Bryan won it at SummerSlam, who knows how things would have panned out from that point on. You know, this was the best way to instantly shake up the entire company. And at the time, it was so controversial. And it was also, like, when things really started getting rolling for me in podcasting. So it was just really, really cool to see happen. I enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. And it pissed a lot of people off. So, you know, for all of these reasons and so much more, it is definitely the honorable mention. And not to mention the fact that the John Cena-Daniel Bryan match was friggin' phenomenal. That was a great match with Daniel Bryan winning the title and then boom, Randy Orton getting him. You know, people call that a burial. I call it building. And it really did build a lot. From that moment, you could trace so many different things that happened. Look, this has nothing to do with Daniel Bryan getting hurt either. You know, Daniel Bryan's title reign didn't go on after WrestleMania, not because the Authority hates him and not because wrestling and Vince doesn't like him because he's small. No, he got hurt. He got hurt, so stop with all the crazy shit. Stop with all the WWE hates Daniel Bryan. No, they don't. He makes some money. And if he was physically able, if he was physically fit, if he could really do everything they want him to do, he would probably be the top guy in the company. That's the reality. But he can't. His body can't hold up to the rigors. That's it. That's it. So that's the honorable mention. So let's get into the list. Let's get into the list, shall we? Starting at number 5, CM Punk. 2009, cashing in on Jeff Hardy. This is the true birth of CM Punk. It's when Punk would really develop into the guy that people just loved to hate and then just loved no matter what he did. This is where it all started. Remember, CM Punk won back-to-back Money in the Banks and cashed in both times successfully. The first time he was a face and he cashed in on Edge in a, you know, it was the first time that they had a face kind of do the sneaky cash in, and people were confused by it because it kind of cheapened Punk's win because, yeah, he's a face and, yeah, Edge was a heel and all this stuff, but the way Punk did it, you know, it was all of that and a lot of him and Han and all that crap, but, you know, it is what it was. I'm noticing now I think I have the wrong picture in there, but that's okay. I have one of the wrong pictures. Oh, well. CM Punk, when he cashed in on Jeff Hardy, it catapulted a feud between these two guys that would really establish Punk to be the guy that we know him now. You know, this would be the beginning of things like the Straight Edge Society and all of that. This was him berating, going on tangents about how terrible people were for idolizing a guy like Jeff Hardy. In a lot of ways, if you think about it, without the undertones on the drug use and all of that, it really was Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels in a lot of ways. You know, CM Punk was playing the role of Bret Hart, talking about how it was disgusting that fans were liking a guy like Shawn Michaels, in this case, Jeff Hardy being Shawn Michaels. It really was that, and it catapulted CM Punk into the light of being this humongous heel and ultimately putting Jeff Hardy out of the company in a fantastic series of matches. And they traded the title back and forth. I realize that's the picture I think I got wrong. That's from the Edge cash-in, I believe. Oh, well, David sucks. But, you know, I love this match. I love the feud that it came from, and the moment was just absolutely epic, which, you know, was not something that we should be surprised of when it came to CM Punk. He was always providing epic moments. So for that reason and so many more, creating a superstar and creating the man that we would know for 5 years after as the best in the world. It started here. So for those reasons, number 5 on this list, 2009 CM Punk cashing in on Jeff Hardy, the charismatic enigma. So I really enjoyed that cash in. Number 4, probably the most emotional and weird cash in on the list. What happens when you have a face nobody wants to cheer and a heel that nobody wants to boo? Well, you get this moment. You get Dolph Ziggler cashing in on Alberto Del Boringo at 2012. 2012, my God. You know, they really just completely screwed everything up with Del Rio. They turned him face, and for about 5 minutes, fans liked him. They were doing the stupid C chants, and it was just C. And it was stupid. But the reality is, nobody was really into Del Rio. They were more into Ricardo Rodriguez than they were him. And that's the reality. People don't like to admit that, but it is true. his announcer was more over than he was. So when he is winning matches, it's pissing people off and nobody's really caring. Nobody's getting behind him. When he successfully defended his title, at this event, Dolph Ziggler comes out to an unbelievable cheer. I mean, the pop was massive. It's one of the biggest pops I had ever heard. It was so huge. Dolph coming out and winning in such an emotional fashion. It was emotional, it was captivating, and it really felt like it was going to be the birth of a star. But unfortunately, Dolph Ziggler would shortly thereafter fall victim to two concussions in like a month and a half, and it just derailed him. And the WWE really hasn't trusted him since, to be completely honest. If we're being 100% honest and fair, this was the beginning of the end for Dolph Ziggler's main event run. I don't know if Dolph Ziggler is ever going to get back to being a main event or a true main event guy or a champion. I'm not positive that Dolph Ziggler is ever going to win a title again, a major title. I just don't know. Now, he could win an Intercontinental or a United States Championship, but I'm not convinced anymore that he's going to win a World Championship. And it's not just because he's getting older and such like that. It's because it's not only the fact that there are guys right now who are higher position than he is, but there are guys coming into the company that are just absolute studs. Studs. The culture, the roster is a changing, folks, and there's a bunch of hungry kids coming up into WWE that are going to change the landscape. And guys like Dolph Ziggler could be falling victim to it because it's just going to be so competitive. And the fact that WWE doesn't really want to have Ziggler as their top guy anyway for reasons. For one, he's a pain in the ass by all accounts. He's always can't keep his mouth in check. And two, he's got so many past injury problems that it makes you really nervous. It's Daniel Bryan all over again in a lot of ways. Except Daniel Bryan's a soldier and never opens his mouth, really. That's the only difference. So it's hard and it's unfortunate, but sometimes it's the reality of the situation. So Dolph Ziggler, at least you're on this list for top 5 greatest cash-ins of all time. Number 4, cashing on Del Rio in 2012. And that, of course, brings us to number 3. This was a moment that would change wrestling in a lot of different ways because the fans realized how much power they had. This is where basically the birth of the We Riot movement would start. And, of course, I am talking about Rob Van Dam in 2006 cashing in on John Cena. Now, why this was so important is because it really created a star. I mean, it did. Look, it created John Cena. Rob Van Dam was already established. But this cash-in, now John Cena was already John Cena, but it really wasn't until this match where people wouldn't stop mentioning him. And then the cheers and the boos would start kind of interlacing. It was all born here. They went into a crowd, they went into an arena, they went into an event where the crowd finally just said, we don't want this guy. We want our guy. And that's what happened. The crowd just was not having the Cena love anymore. And this is where it started. And the Rob Van Dam revolution, I mean, you can see it right there. It's quite crazy. And the reality is it was a perfect storm in so many ways. Van Dam was the second Money in the Bank winner. He was a face, which, wasn't the first time. It was Edge. Edge was the first guy, and he was obviously a super dastardly heel. But Van Dam was a face, and he's the first face to win not only Money in the Bank, but cash in as well. He announced the title challenge in advance, which Edge did not do. So it was like that changed the way we thought of Money in the Bank briefcase. because we didn't know how it was going to be announced the first time, and Edge did it out of nowhere. But this time, Van Dam does it on his terms, like Van Dam is prone to doing. And he did it unbelievably intelligently. I mean, he really did. He did it in an intelligent manner. He was really smart. He chose to challenge in an ECW ring in front of true hardcore ECW people at the second ECW's one night only or one night stand pay-per-view. So he had the crowd, he had the turf. It was just crazy. That's the thing. The biggest thing about this that I remember is there was no Cena chance. There was no Cena love. It was 100% behind Rob Van Dam. I mean, nobody wanted to see Cena win this match. And if he did, there was a very good chance that they were going to burn that friggin' arena down. I mean, that's just how serious it was. It was crazy. And you felt it. You believed it. You believed the actual anger. So it was quite special in that regard as well. It's also really important to note that this is where we got to really see Cena be who he is and just unabashedly be John Cena. He was so booed, yet his entrance, he put his head down, his title up, and just marched to the ring. Just straight swagger. I hate that word, but it really was. And he was unabashedly John Cena. No apologies, nothing. He was just Cena. And it was awesome to watch. It was a lot of fun. And he didn't let anything get to him. There was fuck you Cena chants on a pay-per-view. Legit loud fuck you Cena Sands. Gina. My ex-girlfriend, Jesus Christ. That was the Freudian slip at its best right there. But it was crazy. We've seen if so-and-so wins, we riot after this. But you believed it at this arena because it's the first time. This was the original one. This is the one where it was somebody wrote that in blood. They were like, I'm slaughtering a cow. Don't worry. It's for a good cause. This was also like the first time Cena threw a shirt into the crowd and it got thrown back at him again and again. He had to throw it back out there and was getting launched back at him. He had to experience the hate. He had to see it. It was just crazy. It was crazy because he didn't really know what to do with it. Because it was insane. It was a crazy, crazy, crazy way to experience something. And it was so much fun to see because it felt so real. And then the win itself. Van Dam winning, the only babyface to announce his title shot in advance and follow through with it and actually win it. So, it was just, it's probably the highlight of Van Dam's career. And unfortunately, it was basically the end, too, in a lot of ways. After this, the drug stuff happened, and he was gone. It wasn't even that much longer that the hot boxing car and the copious amounts of pot and painkillers got him arrested. But it was such a good moment that even with all of that, this is the way to go out. This is the way to really cement your legacy. And now he just comes back as a pop to the crowd every now and then. And when he does, it's really special and a lot of fun. But Rob Van Dam will never have a greater moment than that night in 2006 when he cashed in front of an ECW crowd to beat John Cena for the WWE title. Awesome. Simply awesome. You want to talk about serious awe? That was awe-inspiring. Number two. Yet another John Cena moment. But a lot of these, if you're noticing, have not been working out for John Cena. This is, of course, the original. Edge cashing in on John Cena. The very first time it happened, 2005. Look, we didn't know what was going to happen with Money in the Bank. We understand that Winning it took a lot of guts and went through a lot of shit, and Edge certainly did all of that. He won it, but we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't understand where it was going to be cashed in. We didn't know how it was going to be cashed in. We certainly didn't think it was going to be the way it happened. So let me set the table here. Elimination Chamber, New Year's Revolution, in 2006. When Edge won it in 2005, but he won the briefcase in 2005. But 2006, the New Year's Revolution Elimination Chamber match. John Cena getting a victory, defending in an absolutely brutal Elimination Chamber. People forget how good that Elimination Chamber was. It actually was a good match. Brutal, bloody, beaten. Think Cena won it. Everything's fine. Then out walks Vince McMahon saying, "Wait a second. The pay-per-view's not over. We have one more match. The Money in the Bank winner, Edge, has decided to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase right now, and that match is happening now." So out he comes, Cena not knowing what the hell to do. And Edge comes right in, spears him, gets the win. And it really did change things for Edge's career. Edge became the ultimate opportunist. He really did become the rated R superstar. He was using the moniker, but this is where he really became the rated R superstar, because we got the live sex show after this. We got all kinds of sex celebration. We got so many things that really developed his character into something more special than it ever was before. So that's what makes it so important. It was such a cool moment to see Cena lose like that, to have him fall victim to a nefarious scheme like Money in the Bank, and it was just special. It created a feud, too. It created so much. It created a star. It created and really helped catapult Edge to the Hall of Fame career that he had. Now, up to that point, yes, Edge did a lot of things to put himself in position for this moment. But up until that point, it's hard to say that Edge had a Hall of Fame career up to that point. But everything he did after, the 5-year, 6-year run that he had after, ain't no question. Ain't no question, and it was special. And you knew it was special. That was the thing. Yeah, that's a rated R sneeze, baby. You felt it was special. You felt it was new in the moment. And even after that cash-in, we didn't really know how cash-ins would be handled after it. It was quite cool. We thought we knew what to expect, but Money in the Bank continued to evolve, and the way people cashed in continued to evolve. So there you have it. Or do we? In a twist. No, that was actually only 2. I know most people are going to think that was number 1, because what could be better than that? It's the original, right? It's the best. There's no possible way there was a better cash-in. Yes, there was. Yes, there was. And this is not going to be popular. People are probably not going to agree, but I don't care. The greatest cash-in in the history of Money in the Bank happened just a few weeks ago. Seth Rollins cashing in on Brock Lesnar and really Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 31. Shouldn't even have to explain why it's the best, just based off of that short description. WrestleMania 31, boom, check. Brock Lesnar, check. The golden boy, the guy who was supposed to be the next John Cena, Roman Reigns, check. The ultimate swerve, check. The most unique way a Money in the Bank has ever been cashed in, check. It was all there. It was innovative. It was spectacular. It was jaw-dropping. It was unexpected for most. This was a great... Look, people can say, oh, well, I knew Seth Rollins was going to cash in. Not like this, you didn't. Nobody, I don't think anybody had Seth Rollins in the middle of a match coming in and turning the match into a triple threat at the end of a brutal, bloody brawl between Brock and Roman Reigns. Nobody had that. The match was epic between Brock and Roman. The cash-in was better. Seth Rollins cashing in and becoming that guy was a moment that everybody is going to remember forever. We don't know how things are going to turn out from now, but we have a pretty damn good idea, I think. And it's quite remarkable. It's quite remarkable. And I'm pretty dang excited about it, to be completely honest. I can't even begin to think of how much I want to see a Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar return match. It's just there's so many possibilities, and it all stemmed from this moment. I don't really know what else to say. It was that good. It was perfectly booked. The whole match, the whole main event, and it was capitalized. It was punctuated by Seth Rollins doing something that we've never seen before. So for all those reasons, it's number one. It doesn't even take a long explanation. It's number one. There's not been a better one. And you know what? To be honest, I don't know if there can be a better cash in. Unless a star that people really want to see, like if Daniel Bryan had another cash in. I know he cashed in before, but if Daniel Bryan now cashed in, I think it would be a big one. But probably that's not going to happen. Dolph Ziggler's cash in a few years ago, which is on this list, that was huge. If he were to do that again, that would be a huge one. But I don't know if anything could capture the electricity, the importance, the magnitude of this cash in at WrestleMania 31. I just don't see it. But then again, wrestling's all about not seeing. Wrestling's all about not thinking a moment can top what you have already witnessed. But it does get topped. Things do get topped. Wrestling keeps on moving. So there it is. Top 5 greatest Money in the Bank cash-ins of all time. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Let me know in the comment section below. I appreciate all the feedback. As always, you guys are the greatest viewers in the world. Like, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you guys think about the channel. And we will see you tomorrow for 2 hours of Dead on Dave Live right here on Dead on Dave Productions. Make sure you check that out. Join us for 2 hours live. We might even do some overtime tomorrow because Shopping the Point is not going on directly after my show. It actually won't be until a little bit later because of the hockey playoffs. So all of that stuff is going on. So that might give us a little bit extra time if the calls and everything are really, really good. So we'll see you tomorrow for 2 hours of Dead on Dave Live. Viewer questions. Make sure you check out the new unboxing video that's up as well. The new unboxing video for my daughter, Nerd Block Jr. unboxing for April. So make sure you check that out as well. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Like, subscribe, and share. Peace.